It is my pleasure to welcome you, viewer, to the Average Battle Royale. Or something like that. I probably will come up with a better title later. After I reached 2,000 subscribers about a year and a half ago, I began working on something I've wanted to do since I was like 15. Okay, so some people have been making these Hunger Games simulator videos on YouTube for a while now, but with any characters that they thought would be funny. This one's probably one of my favorites of the genre. Well, sure, I thought that was really funny, but I wondered, could I make this even funnier?
No.
I've decided to go a step further than that with today's video, where over the course of a year, I commissioned artists on Twitter for the biggest highlights of the game. And let me tell you, this was a crazy dramatic run with murder and betrayal and romance, so some of the artists had to draw some of the craziest things ever. But we'll get to that when we get to that. And before we get to that, I'm gonna say here and now that links to the artist profiles on Twitter will be linked in the description. Most of these artists were amazing to work with and I highly recommend them. And I'll be placing big friggin' watermarks over all the art shared here so people have an easier time seeing the art they made. You wanna see it without the big cyan words in the way? Go look at their profiles and maybe commission them too while you're there. And additionally, parts of this video that aren't commissioned, I'm gonna be recreating in Gmod because I think that'd be funny, why not? Now, before we get into the main event, I need to quickly summarize the Hunger Games simulator and the characters that we put in the ringer, because there's a chance someone watching might not even know how the Hunger Games work. I mean, sure, that movie made like a insert total dollars, but let's not worry about that. So, the Hunger Games are essentially a battle royale that takes place in a gated arena over the course of multiple days. It's a lush place with trees and rivers and wildlife and such, but with giant walls so combatants can't leave and must battle. No outside weapons or armor or anything like that are allowed, only what you can get inside the arena. Occasionally there are random events in this arena. Sometimes there will be a gift of a weapon, sometimes a fire could break out, who knows? A quote-unquote district can select 2 people to send in as combatants. Now, I had about 4 friends, plus myself and you guys joining me on this Hunger Games sim, so what we decided to do was use the 12 standard districts, but split evenly, so each person was allowed to choose 4 people to send in. So that would be technically 2 districts, but it's all under 1 person. Does that make sense? Yes, this does mean your characters can kill each other. The way the Hunger Games simulator works is it randomly generates events to happen in the Hunger Games, and the characters may die or fight according to them. It'll go on until 1 person is left alive and declared the winner of the Hunger Games. Now that we've got a general gist on the Hunger Games and how they work, let's talk about the part that most of you are excited for. What characters will be fighting to the death, and selected by who? First up, we have me. I chose 4 characters to represent District 1 and 2. The very first character we'll be seeing is Peppino Spaghetti, the main character of Pizza Tower. I chose him for a multitude of reasons, mostly boiling down to I think he could take on most of the cast here and win, as well as that I kinda owe it to him with my most viewed videos to date being Pizza Tower videos, so he's pretty important for my special. Then I chose King Diddy, the rival to Kirby in his game series. He's my profile picture on both YouTube and Twitter, so yeah, I like the character. Then we have Professor Layton from his upcoming game, Professor Layton and the World of Steam. You should have heard how loud I screamed when I heard the game series was alive. So now we're gonna see the main character either die or murder someone, neither of which he would ever do. And finally, we have Diddy kong.exe. No further explanation is needed. Next, let's talk about my friend Tunkerman. He suggested a few hilarious characters like Jake the dog. No Finn, unfortunately. Then we have Uncle Grandpa. Side note, this image is really funny to me. He's so angry, which makes later scenes really funny. Then we have Garfield the cat, which, like, come on, it's Garfield, he's hilarious. And the best of these characters, Leatherface. One of these things are not like the others. Up next is Lavadum. You know, the guy I gave a shout out to in my Friday Night Funkin' video from like 2 to 3 years ago that most of you definitely don't know. Dude, Lavadum, I'm sorry that this is your intro. Why did I write that? He suggested Steve from Minecraft for his first character, and can I just say, man, I've been working on this for so long that we probably totally would have used Jack Black from the movie if we did this now. Then we have Klee from Genshin Impact, which I've never played, so I can't tell you anything about the character, but if she dies, that'd be pretty funny. Then we have Joe Biden, who I hope will use his patented Biden Blast on an opponent. And finally, the Kool-Aid Man will be the final contender. Also, as a side note, Lavadum will unfortunately not be available for the recording of our walkthrough and reactions for a reason I'll get into later. Then we have Chibi Hiroko, also referred to as Hiroko. She had some great choices, like her first one, Dwight from Dead by Daylight, because you know, he's used to situations like this. Then we have Monokuma from Danganronpa. I also don't know anything about this series, but I think this bear murdering someone would be pretty funny. After that, we have Red Among Us. He's definitely the imposter and ready to kill. And finally, we have Lavadum. Yeah, my friend from earlier. This is why he's not in the recordings. It's because he's participating in this free-for-all right now. Totally. Also, we used Lightning McQueen as an image because we couldn't find an image of him in real life, but we thought this would be really funny. Then we have GamerSquadron, and I gotta be totally honest, I don't know anything about any series that he picked his pool from. Z23 is from Azur Lane, which I don't know anything about. Both Nahida and Hu Tao are from Genshin Impact, which I already explained I don't know anything about, and Sopmod is from something called Girls Frontline, which I don't know anything about, but a bunch of anime girls running next to Peppino and Garfield is a funny visual, right? And finally, we have you, the viewers. That's right, way back when I was planning this whole thing, I put out a request on my YouTube, asking people what characters they'd like to see participate. And, well, lucky me, there were exactly 5 people who put down requests. And one was for Peppino, so everyone got to be in. The first character asked for was from Mikey J, Batman, which I'm honestly super grateful for. Him being there is going to be hilarious. Also, hi Mike. Then we have Audie, a neighbor from Animal Crossing. Boy, I really hope she doesn't die immediately. That would suck. The next requested character was Toxic Brains from Plants vs. Zombies. I can't wait to see him in action. Also, I could not find a Gmod model of Toxic Brains, so I'm going to be using this Super Brains model instead. And the final character from that post is Knuckles the Echidna, and I'm super happy he's here. My favorite Sonic character gets to have fun in this battle royale. And there we go. With that, we have our full cast of 24 unique characters that will enter this battle royale. But as we all know, only one will be able to survive and be crowned the winner of the average battle royale. I'm still thinking of a better name. Also, I read this story with semi-seriousness, but I did not be serious at all while animating the Gmod stuff. Keep that in mind. Okay, bye. Without any further ado, let's get into the main event. As the game begins, our competitors sit surrounding something called a cornucopia. It's a small area in the direct center of the arena, with a few weapons and food for people to grab. At the risk of fighting other people for items, and if you lose, someone gets to test their sword sharpness on you. Everyone sits at an equal distance away surrounding it. Then the hunting horn sounds off, signaling the start of the Hunger Games. Plenty of contestants, such as Peppino, King Diddy, and Red Among Us flee from the cornucopia, not wanting to risk their lives for some extra weaponry. Characters like Monokuma and Knuckles the Echidna manage to grab a pair of sais and throwing knives respectively. Z23 and Hu Tao fight for a bit over a bag, but Hu Tao gives up in order to stay safe. Both Dwight and Toxic Brains grab bags that they don't realize are empty. Uncle Grandpa rips a mace out of Jake the dog's hands, and Professor Layton receives a trident. And for our first commissioned work of the video, poor Garfield wasn't able to make much progress. Yes, Lavadum's very first move of the game was to immediately murder Garfield the cat. It must have been a Monday. Also, at the same time, Sopmod fell into a frozen lake and drowned immediately. All on her own. And with those untimely deaths and the cornucopia rendered depleted, the real first day of the Hunger Games commences. And there's a lot to talk about already. Lots of characters are being intimidated by each other. For example, Red Among Us is running away from Audie, and Toxic Brains is actively scaring Knuckles. For some reason, Leatherface received a gift of an explosive from someone?
I don't think he knows how to operate it.
We don't know who or why, but now he has a bomb on him. And Jake the dog also gets a hatchet. He can literally shape his hand into a hatchet, but now he's got a physical weapon.
Yeah, just casual.
Adventure time.
King DDD has already set up camp, but while he's away, Batman, Nahida, Hu Tao, and Z23 all work together to raid his supplies he's garnered.
What the hell did DDD do to get that much stuff?
Kong.exe gets free food. Epic. Okay, time to talk about murders. Uncle Grandpa and Lavadum team up in a 2v2 against Peppino and Monokuma. But in the end, Uncle Grandpa and Lavadum are victorious, and Peppino and Monokuma perish.
No, Monokuma! Damn!
Which I'm not upset about. That was just my ace.
That was like your ultimate pick, wasn't it?
Dwight from Dead by Daylight immediately dies of hunger.
He grabbed an empty bag and ran away, and then he died of hunger because he didn't have anything on him.
It could survive one day without food. Oh my god.
Did he not eat beforehand? And then we have the real meat of the day. Kool-Aid Man approaches Klee and gives her an ultimatum. He says, I'll give you a choice. You can either kill Professor Layton, or you can kill Joe Biden. Now choose. And Klee refuses, saying that both can live. Unfortunately, disagreeing with Kool-Aid Man was a terrible decision. And with one fell swoop, Kool-Aid Man murders her instead.
Kool-Aid Man killed Klee because she wouldn't kill Biden early.
And with that, our first day comes to a close and the sun sets. Cannon shots are heard in the distance, firing in remembrance of the characters that had their lives ended. Garfield, Sopmod, Peppino, Monokuma, Dwight, and Klee will all be remembered. And I will give their Gmod ragdolls a Viking's funeral.
Bam. Klee is dead.
Here's a quick overview that's presented daily of who's alive and who's not, as well as each character's kill count. We then proceeded to not use that every night. Thank you, Average Boy from 2 years ago. However, the night still holds many actions. It begins with most characters being relatively friendly to each other. Audie, Jake, Diddy kong.exe, and Uncle Grandpa temporarily team up to sleep in shifts in order to keep each other safe. Professor Layton allows a suspicious Kool-Aid Man into his shelter for the night, even though he just watched him murder Klee after being offered to her. Layton, he's a killer!
Oh no.
Something romantic begins to bloom on the battlefield as Nahida and Steve Minecraft spend the night holding hands. Nahida and Steve?
Nahida and Steve OTP?
Joe Biden and Toxic Brains watch the moon together.
I think both of them would just be sleeping.
Leatherface gets a second bomb in one day. Lavadum kinda just goes insane, and in a really adorable moment, Knuckles the Echidna, Hu Tao, King DDD, and Red Among Us share ghost stories late into the night.
Do you know how all four of them would have really great ghost stories?
Wait guys, I also just realized the people that are all telling ghost stories, they're all red.
Oh, you're right.
Oh my god.
A nice respite from the bloodshed. I sure hope nothing goes wrong tomorrow. No one died tonight. Let's go. The sun rises on day 2, and it immediately begins with Leatherface now being gifted medical supplies. He's so lucky, I don't understand. He's just constantly being showered in gifts. Batman, Hu Tao, Uncle Grandpa, Red Among Us, and Lavadum all work together to kill someone, but they find no one in the field. Steve Minecraft chases Professor Layton, but to no avail. Diddy kong.exe receives a hatchet, so now he's armed too.
I don't trust Diddy Kong with that hatchet.
And despite our cries, Nahida works with Kool-Aid Man.
Is she cheating on Minecraft, Steve?
No!
With a killer! But Knuckles got some flowers.
That's just his hobby.
And Jake the dog got a med pack. Overall, a fairly uneventful day with everyone just getting better supplies. And with 0 cannon shots heard in the distance, the sun sets. As the night progresses, we see what everyone is doing. Nahida has been infected with an injury and is attempting to treat it. Diddy kong.exe destroys Uncle Grandpa's supplies while he's asleep, which is a dangerous move seeing as Uncle Grandpa has 2 kills under his belt.
I just realized that the Diddy Kong is Diddy kong.exe.
It wasn't the same after King K. Rool stole his bananas.
Batman receives a hatchet and Knuckles receives a bomb. Toxic Brains, Leatherface, and King DDD all become friends and sing songs late into the night. Characters like Hu Tao and Professor Layton manage to sleep well, but characters like Z23 and Audie struggle to sleep, their mental health rapidly depleting. But someone is murdered that night. Red Among Us wasn't the imposter.
Among Us! No!
Joe Biden had pulled a knife on him and stabbed him in the chest. Then Among Us laid lifeless, and with that death, the sun rises.
Among Us was the only death.
Day 3 brings some interesting events with it. To start with some immediate danger, Minecraft Steve approaches Leatherface with one simple request: to kill him. However, Leatherface refuses, keeping Steve alive. Then Leatherface walks away.
What, did he just move on from cannibalism and decides to become an explosive expert? What's happening?
Well, on to some lighter topics. Professor Layton chases kong.exe, but ultimately nothing happens there. Audie now has a bomb. That's cool. Nahida creates a slingshot, but is still suffering from an injury. King Diddy is fishing, and Uncle Grandpa is really thirsty. Only one cannon shot is heard that night. Rest in peace among us. Then the sun sets once again. The night starts off with high energy as Jake the dog begs Batman to end his suffering. But in the most canon move ever, Batman says, "I won't kill you." And Jake is left alive.
Jake the dog never begs for death.
Kool-Aid Man and Uncle Grandpa, two of our best killers so far, bump into each other but decide to save their fight for the morning. More ghost stories are shared. Hu Tao and Knuckles return, but this time are joined by Audie and Toxic Brains. How nice! But in an even crazier development, Steve Minecraft has returned to Nahida's side when she needed him most, and even tended to her wounds. She's an adult, right?
She's...
Okay, campers, rise and shine. Day 4 is upon us, and it starts off nice and quiet. Lavadum is fishing.
No, he's still murdering. He's just murdering fishes.
King DDD and Z23 have teamed up temporarily and are splitting up to attain resources. Uncle Grandpa steals some supplies from Jake the dog. Joe Biden is questioning his sanity, all the usual stuff. Then Knuckles approaches Leatherface for an exit, but weirdly again, he spares another person asking for death.
You're not human. I don't want you.
I don't know if your meat's edible. Nahida, Steve, Batman, and Toxic Brains raided Kool-Aid Man's supplies while he was out hunting. They're asking for trouble with that.
Oh, dude, he's gonna be pissed.
Dude, Kool-Aid Man will kill them in cold blood. He will not get mad, he'll get even. But that doesn't hold a candle of importance to what happens elsewhere. Hu Tao draws her blade and murders kong.exe in cold blood.
Poor guy.
Where'd she get a sword from? Yeah.
And with that, another is dead, and the sun... Psych! Just then, a tsunami rolls in and threatens to kill everyone. Many survive, like Hu Tao, Knuckles, Leatherface, and Jake the dog. But some meet an unfortunate end. Kool-Aid Man and Uncle Grandpa both smash heads, rendering them unconscious as the tsunami consumes them. Joe Biden actively drowns King DDD. Toxic Brains fell from a great height and couldn't survive the fall. But to the dismay of all of us, right when the love blossomed on the battlefield, it was snuffed. Professor Layton saw the tsunami approach and took his opportunity. He watched as Steve struggled against the waves and smiled. And he watched until Steve's body stopped moving. Then he walked away.
Minecraft Steve!
Minecraft Steve, your love was blossoming! Nahida survived the ordeal, and all of us began rooting for her, wanting her to get revenge on Professor Layton. To say we were invested was an understatement. We were enthralled. What had started as, haha, look at Garfield dying, had suddenly become so dramatic and heart-wrenching. We read on, learning about 6 cannon shots fired that night for kong.exe, King DDD, Kool-Aid Man, Uncle Grandpa, Toxic Brains, and so unfortunately, Steve Minecraft.
Alrighty, let's see. Oh.
Wow, more than half are gone.
Every time I look at Dwight, I'm like, damn, this poor guy.
As the night begins, only 11 tributes, less than half, remain. In the aftermath of the tsunami, most people are being fairly relaxed tonight. Audie and Hu Tao tell each other stories about themselves to pass the time.
This is not a ghost story, but I remember this one time I killed this person.
And Leatherface and Knuckles huddle together for close warmth.
Leatherface and Knuckles, OTP.
New couple? Professor Layton and Lavadum aren't able to get warm through the night though, and the rest work together to sleep in shifts. And with that, the sun rises. Day 5 starts, and already something huge happens. Knuckles and Jake the dog are in a knife fight when Jake the dog kicks Knuckles in the chest, forcing him to fall off a nearby cliff. Apart from that though, everyone else is fairly nice and calm today. Hu Tao and Audie are still telling stories, but now Joe Biden is listening unbeknownst to the girls.
He's preparing his Biden blast.
Can you imagine just like telling ghost stories to some friend and then Joe Biden appears behind you?
I don't know what to feel about that.
Nahida, Layton, and Z23 are all doing their own things. And Leatherface receives another gift, this time being clean water. And then a hurricane blows into the area and wreaks havoc on everything inside. And there are a staggering amount of casualties. Lavadum pushes Nahida into a boulder while they flee, stopping any chance of vengeance for Steve. Joe Biden also pushes Z23 into one. Batman is hurt by Jake the dog and is unable to escape the hurricane's path. Professor Layton and Leatherface are both sucked in, which really sucks because Leatherface has all of these goodies and wasn't even able to use one of them. And Hu Tao was incapacitated by falling debris and dies. There are now 4 people left alive. Jake the dog, Audie from Animal Crossing, Joe Biden, and Lavadum, my friend. 7 cannon shots are heard in the distance as we mourn the losses of Knuckles, Nahida, Z23, Batman, Leatherface, Professor Layton, and Hu Tao.
It's the final 4.
You know, I'm surprised Audie's still alive.
Me too. Audie is like that one background character where they're so unimportant that the writers forget about her and she survives until the end.
During the night, the final 4 characters begin attempting to prepare for tomorrow and the inevitable showdown. Jake and Lavadum temporarily sleep in shifts. Joe Biden has a nightmare, and Audie receives some food.
See, Audie doesn't do anything. She just gets stuff and she's like, oh, thanks.
The sun rises on the final day of the tournament. Jake, Lavadum, and Joe begin fighting. Everyone's so close to being the final person left alive. And Audie kills them all with a single explosive detonation.
I'm gonna do it all. I'm gonna just end this arena right now.
I think she found Leatherface's bombs.
No, while that'd be funny, Tunkerman, if you remember, on day 3, Audie received an explosive and kept that with her the entire time, waiting to use it at the perfect time. With 3 kills at the very end, Audie is the winner of the average battle royale. I'd pronounce it more, but I'm worried my roommates will get mad at me. Here's everybody's stats. As you can see, even though Audie didn't get the most kills, she definitely performed better than Dwight Dead by Daylight. I mean, hey, for dying of starvation in less than a day, Dwight got 20th. I still can't believe Garfield died frame 1. That's really funny to me.
I think Garfield would just be too lazy to just climb the ranks, so he just
All she had to do was survive and then blow them all up.
When she was telling ghost stories, she was just waiting, getting in people's good side. Dude, this was a roller coaster of emotions.
I was definitely waiting for Nahida to get her revenge kill, but no.
And yeah, now as the credits are rolling, though you should be able to see those on the screen, I'm going to be a little bit less, YouTuber-y, and I'm going to be focusing on thanking the artists that I commissioned, because really they did breathe a lot of life into these events. Like, first off, I gotta give huge thanks to Gal Rosalina. She ended up becoming, an actual mutual over on Twitter, which is, funny, but also not only was she one of the first artists that I commissioned, but, as I mentioned, oh boy, I can't wait for you to be, the pinnacle piece and, the climax. She remastered it for free? That's insane. Thank you so much. Who else? Samari64. Their SD card literally fried inside of their computer. I thought that junction was over, which is why there are 2 Professor Layton murdering Minecraft Steve pieces in this video. It's because his SD card fried. I went to go commission someone else because I thought that junction was completely done, and they still finished. I wasn't expecting that. Thank you so much. But like, at that point, I'd already commissioned a piece from The Painted, and it was really good, and I wanted to use it, but, well, both pieces were good, and I wanted to use both. Which I think because each artist put such a different spin on the idea that it ended up becoming like a whole narrative, which ended up being really great. Thank you guys. Invader Mao's Audie was really friggin' cute. I loved it. They only took like a day to draw it and share it with me, which after a nightmare of the joke that I'm going to tell at the end of the credits, that's really, really welcome. SomecallmeSean was great. He worked super fast, even if it was just an Among Us. Clive Yuri, I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. They made the Hu Tao art and it was super cute, and it only took like 3 weeks, including like explaining how it doesn't usually take that long, but also giving me all of the back and forths and like, here's the basic image, do you want to change anything? Super great to work with, thank you. I commissioned Randy before they were in the Pizza Tower Noise update credits, which is really funny to me. But yeah, no, their King Diddy art looks great. El Tomaso made the art for Toxic Brains, which looks great. He made it super fast. The YouTuber Mayo made Knuckles. I'm really grateful for that. It was only like $20. I'm really shocked that a big man YouTuber was charging that little for it. Who else did I even commission? Maddie Prower made that art of Garfield. I'm not gonna lie, I asked for it with a transparent background so I could edit Lightning McQueen at the back of it, but I was too shy to ask for the transparent background. But it's okay, it came out pretty good. It looks official. Lunar Cryptic absolutely knocked it out of the park with the Nahida and Steve art. Like, we were just in love with that. That was great. Nemi, I'm a little mixed on because they did do the art and it was great, but it took a few months, I'm not gonna lie. I gotta be honest. It took a long time, and I kind of did have to get PayPal authorities involved, but past is in the past, and their art is still really good. And now that the credits are over, and everyone's clicked off the video, what the hell, that one kid 39? I gave you money for a piece, and then you contacted me and said, oh, I don't know if this art will go through. And I was like, oh, okay, something must have bad happened in your life. That's okay, I respect it. And then you posted Bendy and the Ink Machine fan art the next day, and I was like, hey, what the hell? You said you weren't going to do art, and she just said, oh, I just don't feel motivated. And it was like, cool, but I gave you money. And so, over a year later, and I've only gotten a black and white image that is on screen right now. I'm not trying to be toxic, man. I'm not trying to, please don't harass this person. I'm pretty sure they're just a kid, but like, I gave you money. Do your job.